Late at night, the silence of the hospital is shattered by the sound of footsteps echoing through empty hallways. But no one is there. They say a restless spirit roams these halls, forever trapped between life and death. Tonight, I'll share 3 terrifying true stories from inside hospital walls. Stories that will make you question what really happens when the lights go out. Welcome to Haunting Harbor TV, where we delve into the darkest corners of the unknown. If you're fascinated by true horror stories, ghostly encounters, and all things creepy, you've come to the right place. Before we dive into tonight's chilling tales, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy these kinds of stories. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you'll never miss a moment of our terrifying. Our first story takes us back to the 1950s, to a small rural hospital nestled in the heart of the countryside. This hospital was known for its dedicated staff, especially one nurse named Margaret. She was kind, compassionate, and always went above and beyond for her patients. But one night, tragedy struck. A severe storm raged on, and the hospital was overwhelmed with patients from a nearby car accident. Amid the chaos, Nurse Margaret worked tirelessly, tending to the injured and comforting the scared. Little did she know, it would be her last shift. As the night wore on, Margaret was called to the basement to retrieve some emergency supplies. The power flickered due to the storm, casting eerie shadows along the walls. She descended the stairs, her footsteps echoing in the silence. In the basement, something went terribly wrong. Margaret never returned. Concerned, her colleagues went to look for her. They found her lying on the cold floor, her face frozen in terror, her eyes wide open as if she had seen something unspeakable. Blood trickled from her nose and ears, suggesting an internal hemorrhage, but the true cause of death was never determined. Her sudden and mysterious death shocked everyone. The hospital tried to move on, but strange occurrences began to plague the staff and patients. Whispers in the empty hallways, flickering lights, and the sound of footsteps echoing through the basement, even when no one was there. Patients and staff alike spoke of seeing a woman in an old-fashioned nurse's uniform, her eyes filled with sorrow, roaming the halls at night. I remember one night, I was on a late shift. I saw her, clear as day, standing at the end of the hallway. She looked right at me, then disappeared. I'll never forget those eyes. So sad, so lost. The sightings continued for years, and the hospital eventually closed down, unable to shake its haunted reputation. But Margaret's story doesn't end there. Even after the hospital shut its doors, locals couldn't escape the eerie presence that lingered. Urban explorers and thrill seekers began to visit the abandoned building, drawn by the tales of the ghostly nurse. Many reported feeling an icy chill as they walked through the darkened halls, hearing faint whispers and distant cries for help. We were exploring the old hospital at night when we heard footsteps behind us. We turned around, but no one was there. It felt like we were being watched. One explorer captured this footage of a wheelchair moving by itself, a chilling reminder that Margaret's spirit might still be tending to her duties. But the most terrifying encounter came from a group of paranormal investigators. Equipped with advanced ghost hunting gear, they ventured into the basement where Margaret had died. As they set up their cameras and EVP recorders, the air grew cold. One of the investigators felt a hand on her shoulder, but when she turned around, no one was there. EVP recording, "Help me." The voice was unmistakably female, filled with anguish. It sent shivers down their spines. One investigator saw a figure in a nurse's uniform standing in the shadows, her face ashen, her eyes pleading. He tried to approach, but she vanished into thin air. The investigators left in a hurry, convinced that Margaret's spirit still wandered the halls, bound to the hospital by some unfinished business or an unresolved tragedy. They believe she continues to search for patients to care for, even in death. Margaret's spirit remains a chilling reminder of the dedication and tragedy that can haunt even the most compassionate souls. To this day, locals avoid the old hospital after dark, fearful of encountering the ghostly nurse who never stopped working. But it makes you wonder, what if the veil between our world and the next is thinner than we think? If a soul like Margaret's, driven by compassion and duty, can become trapped in a place of pain, what does that say about the places we inhabit and the lives we lead? Perhaps, in the quietest moments, when we think we're alone, we're not truly alone. Maybe the echoes of the past linger, waiting to remind us of stories left unfinished and the spirits who still have something to say. But what truly happened to Nurse Margaret that fateful night in the basement remains a mystery. Was it simply a tragic accident, or was there something more sinister at play? The hospital's records offer no clear answers, and the whispers and sightings continue to this day. Some say her spirit is at peace, finally resting after years of wandering. Others believe she still roams the empty halls, searching for answers or perhaps waiting for someone to uncover the truth about her death. Despite numerous investigations, no one has been able to definitively explain the strange occurrences at the old hospital. Whether a tragic soul or a dedicated nurse unable to let go, Margaret's story remains one of the most haunting tales to emerge from those hospital walls. And as long as her spirit lingers, the mystery of the ghostly nurse will continue to chill those brave enough to seek it out. Welcome back to our journey through the haunted halls of abandoned hospitals. As we delve deeper into the darkness, prepare yourself for another bone-chilling tale that will send shivers down your spine. Our next story takes us to a forgotten ward, where the echoes of pain and suffering still linger. In this desolate place, nurses once tended to the sickest of patients, but something sinister lurked within its walls. Join me as we uncover the terrifying truth behind the haunted ward, a tale of restless spirits and unspeakable horrors that will leave you questioning what lies beyond the realm of the living. Meet Dr. William Hargrave, a respected physician known for his compassionate care. Dr. Hargrave was dedicated to his patients, often working late into the night to ensure their well-being. But even the good doctor could not escape the horrors that lurked in Ward C. Ward C was where the most critically ill patients were treated. The ward had a reputation for unexplained deaths and strange occurrences. Lights would flicker, objects would move on their own, and chilling whispers could be heard in the dead of night. One night, Dr. Hargrave was making his rounds in Ward C when he noticed something peculiar. One of the patients, an elderly man named Mr. Thompson, seemed unusually agitated. Mr. Thompson claimed he saw shadowy figures at the foot of his bed, whispering his name. Mr. Thompson, trembling voice. "They're here, doctor. They're watching me." Dr. Hargrave dismissed it as a hallucination, a side effect of the man's medication. But as the night wore on, more patients began to report similar experiences. Shadowy figures, cold spots, and the overwhelming sense of being watched. Determined to get to the bottom of these strange occurrences, Dr. Hargrave began investigating the history of Ward C. He discovered that the ward had been the site of numerous deaths during a severe flu outbreak decades earlier. Many of the patients had died in agony, and their spirits were said to still haunt the ward. As the doctor dug deeper, he uncovered stories of a nurse named Evelyn, who had worked tirelessly during the outbreak. She was known for her kindness, but she had mysteriously disappeared one night, never to be seen again. Legend had it that Nurse Evelyn had been driven mad by the suffering she witnessed, and that her spirit now roamed Ward C, trapped between her duty and the horrors she could not escape. One night, Dr. Hargrave decided to stay in the ward, determined to witness these phenomena himself. As he sat by Mr. Thompson's bed, the temperature in the room suddenly dropped. He could see his breath misting in the air. Then, the whispers began. "Help us. Find peace," the voices whispered. Dr. Hargrave's heart pounded as he turned towards the source of the sound. There, standing in the doorway, was the translucent figure of Nurse Evelyn. Her eyes, once kind, were now filled with sorrow. Dr. Hargrave watched in stunned silence as she moved towards Mr. Thompson's bed. She gently touched his hand, and for a moment a look of peace washed over his face. Then, as suddenly as she appeared, she was gone. From that night on, Dr. Hargrave dedicated himself to helping the restless spirits of Ward C find peace. He spoke to them, listened to their stories, and slowly, the strange occurrences began to subside. But some say, on quiet nights, you can still hear Nurse Evelyn's whispers, a reminder of the compassion and tragedy that linger in the haunted ward. Unresolved mysteries, echoes of the past, and spirits seeking closure. The haunted ward remains a testament to the thin veil between our world and the next. Stay tuned for our final tale of hospital horrors, and remember, sometimes the past is closer than we think. Our second story took us to Ward C, a place shrouded in mystery and haunted by the past. Dr. William Hargrave, a compassionate physician, discovered the dark secrets of this ward after a series of unsettling events. Patients reported seeing shadowy figures and hearing chilling whispers. Digging into the history, Dr. Hargrave learned about a tragic flu outbreak that claimed many lives and the mysterious disappearance of Nurse Evelyn, a kind-hearted nurse who vanished without a trace. Determined to uncover the truth, Dr. Hargrave stayed in Ward C and experienced the ghostly presence of Nurse Evelyn himself. Her spirit, driven by sorrow and a desire to help, appeared to him and brought peace to a frightened patient before disappearing. From that night, Dr. Hargrave dedicated himself to helping the restless spirits find closure, and the strange occurrences began to diminish. Despite his efforts, the haunted ward's eerie reputation persists. Locals and former hospital staff still speak of cold spots, distant whispers, and sightings of a ghostly nurse. Ward C stands as a chilling reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead, leaving many to wonder if Nurse Evelyn's spirit continues her compassionate vigil, forever bound to the haunted halls. As we prepare to unveil our final tale, steel your nerves and prepare for a story that delves into the darkest corners of hospital horror. Our journey takes us to the notorious St. Mary's Hospital, where a series of inexplicable disappearances have left an indelible mark on those who dare to remember. St. Mary's was a bustling urban hospital, known for its dedicated staff and state-of-the-art facilities. But in the 1970s, a series of patient disappearances began to cast a dark shadow over the institution. No one could explain how or why these patients vanished, leaving only fear and speculation in their wake. At the heart of this mystery was Jake, an elderly boy who had been a frequent visitor to the hospital, caring for his sick mother. Unlike the other stories we've told, Jake wasn't just compassionate, he was a beacon of hope. His kindness and empathy touched everyone he met, even in the darkest times. Working alongside him was Dr. Thomas Harding, a seasoned physician who shared his unwavering commitment to their patients. It all began one fateful night in 1973. Jake was making his rounds in the intensive care unit when he noticed something strange. One of the patients, Mr. Lewis, was missing from his bed. The sheets were neatly folded and there were no signs of struggle. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Jake, in a whisper, "Mr. Lewis, where could you have gone?" Over the next few weeks, more patients began to disappear under similarly mysterious circumstances. The hospital administration was baffled, and fear spread among the staff and patients like wildfire. Dr. Harding, a respected physician, took a personal interest in the case. He believed that there had to be a logical explanation. Dr. Harding and Jake decided to investigate the disappearances themselves. They began by interviewing the remaining patients and staff, looking for any clues that might explain the strange phenomena. But the more they delved into the mystery, the more sinister the hospital seemed. One night, as Dr. Harding and Jake reviewed their findings, they heard faint, eerie whispers echoing through the empty halls. Determined to find the source, they followed the sounds to an old, rarely used operating room, a place few dared to go. As they approached the operating room, the whispers grew louder. They pushed open the heavy door and stumbled upon a chilling sight: rows of hospital beds with the missing patients, all in a deep, unnatural sleep. At the far end of the room stood a figure in a tattered lab coat, their face obscured by shadows. The figure revealed themselves to be Dr. Evans, a former hospital researcher who had been presumed dead. Obsessed with uncovering the secrets of life and death, Dr. Evans had conducted unsanctioned experiments on the patients, attempting to unlock the mysteries of the human soul. His experiments had gone horribly wrong, trapping the patients in a state between life and death. Dr. Evans, in a raspy voice, "You can't stop the inevitable. Science must advance, no matter the cost." Realizing the danger, Dr. Harding and Jake managed to subdue Dr. Evans and free the patients from their unnatural slumber. The authorities were called, and the secret of the hidden operating room was finally exposed. Dr. Evans was taken into custody, but the horrors he unleashed left a permanent scar on St. Mary's Hospital. Though the hospital was eventually shut down, the legend of the disappearing patients lives on. Some say the spirits of those trapped souls still roam the halls, a reminder of the dark experiments that took place within those walls. And on quiet nights, if you listen closely, you can still hear the faint whispers of those who vanished, never to be seen again. Story 1. The Haunted Wing of St. Joseph's Hospital. Our first tale took us to the eerie, abandoned wing of St. Joseph's Hospital. Here, a young nurse named Margaret met a tragic end, falling to her death under mysterious circumstances. Her spirit, filled with anger and sorrow, began haunting the hospital, tormenting anyone who dared to enter her domain. The staff and patients spoke of cold spots, flickering lights, and ghostly apparitions, creating an atmosphere of fear and unease that lingers to this day. The legend of Margaret's restless spirit serves as a grim reminder of the tragedy that befell her, and the haunted wing remains a place of dread for all who know its dark history. Story 2. The Phantom Doctor of Mercy General. Our second story unfolded at Mercy General Hospital, where patients began experiencing strange and terrifying encounters with a phantom doctor. This spectral figure, known as Dr. Gray, would appear at night, standing silently by patients' bedsides, causing panic and fear. Eyewitnesses described him as a tall, shadowy figure with an otherworldly presence. Despite extensive investigations, Dr. Gray's identity and origin remain a mystery. The haunting of Mercy General by the Phantom Doctor left a lasting impact on everyone involved, turning the hospital into a place where the line between the living and the dead seemed to blur. Story 3. The Disappearing Patients of St. Mary's Hospital. Our final tale brought us to St. Mary's Hospital, where a series of mysterious patient disappearances shocked the staff and patients alike. At the center of this mystery was Jake, a compassionate boy caring for his sick mother. He, along with Dr. Thomas Harding, uncovered a chilling secret in an old operating room where the missing patients were found in a deep, unnatural sleep. The perpetrator, Dr. Evans, a researcher obsessed with life and death, was conducting horrific experiments that went terribly wrong. Though Dr. Evans was apprehended, the dark experiments left a scar on St. Mary's Hospital, and the legend of the disappearing patient still haunts its abandoned halls. Each of these true hospital horror stories reveals the thin veil between our world and the unknown, reminding us that sometimes the scariest places are where we least expect. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these stories. Have you had any creepy experiences in hospitals? Share your stories in the comments below. And don't forget to suggest topics for our future videos. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more spine-tingling tales. Until next time, stay safe and beware of the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey through the darkest corners of hospital horror. We appreciate you being part of our community of brave souls seeking spine-tingling thrills. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be alerted when we release new videos. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, stay safe and keep an eye out for the shadows.